John Cena did his first heel promo.
Mm-hmm.
He blamed the fans, which I think most people thought. I wanted him to do a little bit more Chris Jericho doing Nick Bockwinkel style. That's not really who he is. I thought that would have been really great if he leaned into that, but you know, he did what I thought he was going to do. His delivery and his ring presence, all that stuff is always great because that's why he is who he is. I'm not sure that was the best follow-up for what the story was, which is he joined The Rock and he joined the final boss and all the things that The Rock brings to the table. This was more about him like trying to tell the fans why he had reason to do that. So we have tons of time until WrestleMania. I'm sure he
and I think
things together.
He's booked for the next 3 weeks, so he's gonna be around.
But what did you think of the promo, and were you happy with this extension of the storyline?
I have mixed feelings about the promo. I think for this audience, it's gonna work.
Yeah.
You know, I checked in with D, and he was, you know, over the moon with this because that's
yeah, I would have.
you know, and unfortunately, the correlation is that it's a very lowbrow entertainment. Like yeah. I'm okay with it here, but if this was a higher scale form of entertainment, it would be bad writing,
right?
Because you know, first of all, he said to use a clinical term, he was very tangential in his speech. That means that he was saying a whole bunch of nothing.
Yeah,
you know. I remember when I was in grad school, they told us when you're doing a presentation, make sure you stick to the facts. Don't try to use these big fancy words, and then at the end of the day, you didn't say anything.
Yeah, people think it's like rhetoric, like you're just
yeah.
And
that's like a carny thing, right? When people want to win an argument, they say rhetoric, and then because you overwhelm people with words is what you do.
Yeah, you're trying to show off your charisma, and you're overstating the fact that you don't have anything to really say.
I think that's what I saw that in the John Cena promo. He goes out there and he says all these things, but they don't really mean anything. So why? Okay, you said this, and this. Why did you turn on Cody Rhodes? That still doesn't. You're not giving me any answers to why that happened on that night.
Yeah.
You know. What about The Rock? Well, are you guys? When did this happen? This is what I really want to know. I don't care how you feel, right? And even his premise was very cartoony because as an athlete, we talked about earlier how as an athlete, there's this acceptance that you're going to get exploited, right? We were talking about David Von Erich.
Yeah.
His premise is also faulty logic because as an athlete, he knew that they were going to use him or whatever. And he's also forgetting the fact that they made him a millionaire, you know? and I get it. He's a heel, but his logic is faulty only in that it comes off as him being very childish.
Yeah.
Like the John Cena that we know would have thought about that. And that would have been part of his decision making, whether or not he was going to turn heel or turn on Cody. This John Cena comes off as this guy who woke up one day and just wanted to pout. He was very pouty. He's like, "Oh, they didn't like me," and then you know another little plot hole is that they've actually liked you over the last few years.
Yes.
So why does this turn happen now?
He's more over in these last 2 years than he was since he became John Cena.
Yeah. So that didn't really make sense. Like, why now? Right now, you're on the other side of the hump. You're beloved. So you're actually self-sabotaging yourself here by going backwards now. So that part I wasn't okay with. But again, thinking as a booker, this is gonna work for this audience. So I'm okay with it. Like, whatever, you know. Again, if I want something a little, above the surface or whatever, I go watch something else. This is fine for this. So, because it also could have been worse. He could have done the whole thing where he comes out and he just doesn't say anything, which I hate when they do that. So we'll see. We'll see how it is. How the follow-up is when The Rock comes back. They have to still explain that motivation if they ever get to it. I didn't like the fact that there was no pull apart because Cody got his eardrum busted.
I thought the whole buildup for Cody was like, I see you, we're fighting. And then he decided to walk down to the ring and slap hands and get in a promo war, which I thought Cody was awesome in. I think Cody came off as a bigger star by the end of that thing, just by Like he had all the answers for Cena. But yeah, you're right. Like I was just like, why isn't this dude wanting to fight him?
Yeah, and I get it, because sometimes a baby face is supposed to show more restraint, right? Because they have ethics, and it's the old adage of like, I'm not gonna become the monster that you are, so I'm gonna respect you and give you the space. But then there's also like a thin line between that and being a chump, right? It's like, when do you fight back here? Like,
well, I mean, it's the Jey Uso conundrum right now, right? He just keeps getting his ass whipped over and over. And I was like, man, this after the Rumble, this dude was the hottest guy in the business, and now maybe he's like number 5 again.
yeah, but I was always against that. I thought he shouldn't have never won. I still say they should have got with Roman and Seth, and they should have got with Punk and Gunther. That would have been great for me. But they decided to go this way, so whatever. Also, he almost turned on himself with that blown spot where he almost landed on his head with, on that missed dive. I don't know. I just think that with him, with Jay, they just don't know what to do with him. They don't trust him to cut these like emotional promos. And it's almost like they just didn't think this through when they gave him the shot, and so now they're stuck, and every week we're gonna see him get choked out or not choked out.
Yeah, the one thing I think, if you could say the name Vince McMahon on WWE TV, I think that would have been compelling for Cena. And the reason why I say that is because, as I do this stuff with Dave, I kind of learn what some of the wrestlers think about that time frame in their career. And some think that Cena becoming the Vince puppet and the, kind of the company man that he became, because if you remember, the John Cena that came through was very young. He was edgy. He was doing like all these dirty jokes on people. And then when he became the guy, he became like the clean cut, almost to the point of where he wouldn't really say much anymore. Like, not, he would, very little edge to him. And some people think that him being the cookie cutter babyface kind of doled out the popularity of wrestling a little bit, because he changed who he was to just be what Vince wanted, which is, we want the brand to be the draw and not the singular wrestlers. And so, some people fault him for that and for the demise of the popularity of wrestling. So if he could have channeled that, I thought that would have been really brilliant. Like, I came on the scene as a young man, and then I went, this is kind of the Rocky 3 thing. I became the champion, and I was like really the face of the company. And, I lost my edge, but I had to keep doing what I was doing, because that's what was working for the business, and that's what was working for my career. And then, of course, what happens? Well, they're looking for the next John Cena. That person becomes Roman. That person becomes Cody. That's what I'm pissed off at. I'm pissed off that Cody is the next chosen one, and I still feel like I could be the guy. And like, that's where I would have gone, like, creatively. Right. Yes. But like, that's a little bit of a different story than they're telling with this whole final boss, like, goofy movie star thing.
But what's the motivation? See, your story has motivation. His story is just a bunch of rhetoric that doesn't. It's all over the place. Feelings. What do you mean like, how do the fans use you? Like it's trying to be fancy, right? They're trying to get deep with their storytelling, but it's actually very empty.
Yeah.
And so they could course correct. Like, maybe they have 3 weeks, because he's got a weird schedule. He's going to be on for the next 3 weeks, and then he's got 2 weeks off before Mania, so he's not even going to be in the go home show.
Hopefully they cut some stuff, like, that they could play, or they video pack.
Yeah, they could do the satellite thing, whatever, all that stuff.